Hey friends, welcome back to the Guitar Max channel, and I've got a really fun shootout video for you today. I'm going to compare one of my Harley Benton signature guitars. This is the least expensive one at $435. I'm going to compare this to a really great Fender guitar. And the thing that I'm going to do in this video that might be a little bit out of the ordinary is that I think a lot of people consider Harley Benton to be a budget guitar or a budget brand. And so it would make sense to compare a Harley Benton to the budget Fender brand Squier. But that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to compare this $435 Harley Benton to a $2,649 Fender, one of Fender's best production guitars, the Ultra Luxe Stratocaster. So I'm going to play both of these guitars. I want you guys to listen closely to the sounds of the two guitars and tell me, can you hear a difference between the two guitars? And then, is that difference good? And does it justify the Fender costing 6 times as much as the Harley Benton? Okay, to give you some quick specs on the guitars, like I mentioned at the beginning, this is one of my signature models with Harley Benton. This is the Guitar Max Fusion, and this is the stop-tail version with the walnut top. Obviously, the guitar is a great value, but it's got some really cool features on it, like the flame roasted maple neck and fretboard, and then the extra jumbo 24 stainless steel frets. This being my non-Floyd Rose model, it's got the super comfortable Babix bridge down here, and then Tesla pickups. And even though this one here is a single coil sized pickup, it's actually like a dual rail, single coil sized humbucker pickup. And you've got this little mini switch down here for your coil splitting. So you can run both of these pickups as humbuckers or single coil pickups. Also, this model, and actually all of the signature models that I have with Harley Benton, are made in Indonesia. Now the Fender, on the other hand, well, it's priced at $2649. That's a little over 6 times the price of the Harley Benton. That guitar is, of course, made in the USA, and it's got some very traditional Strat, Fender Strat features, like the 3 single coil pickups, although they are, of course, the nice noiseless versions of those. It's got 22 frets, and that model actually has stainless steel frets, which is a nice upgrade compared to a lot of the less expensive traditional Stratocaster models. It also has a more comfortable neck joint and some just nice aesthetic touches like the headstock that's painted to match the body. Now these guitars are both, in my opinion, beautiful looking guitars, but in different ways. The Harley Benton has a nice natural wood grain, natural, very organic colors, right? And then the Fender, well, it's a classic Strat with that painted headstock to make it pop a little bit more. I don't think anybody can really say a Strat is not a great looking guitar. It's such an iconic instrument with an iconic look. It's hard to go wrong in the looks department. Okay, so now let's go ahead and plug these guitars back in, and I'll do some playing on both of them and we'll listen to how they sound. And one thing to keep in mind here, because the pickups between these guitars are so different, I'm going to switch to the coil splitting setting for most of the demo when I'm using the Harley Benton. So it's not going to be a humbucker versus the single coil in the Fender, but I'll do a little bit of playing with the full-blown humbucker, but most of it, for the sake of doing a fair comparison, will be single coil versus single coil sounds from these guitars. Also, I'm going to use the exact same amp setups. To keep it simple, I'm just going to use my Boss IR200 amp and cabinet simulator so I can get the exact same settings every time when we listen to both of these guitars. Now, real quick guys, if you enjoy videos like this, checking out cool new guitars and staying up on all the latest news in the guitar universe, and you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing right now. And let's get into the demo, but listen closely to these two guitars and then let me know which one sounds better to your ears, and is the price of the Fender justified by the sound of the guitar. Okay, let's check it out. Okay guys, so let's talk a little bit more about these guitars, and I want to talk about the playability first that I notice between the two guitars, the difference between the two guitars as far as the playability, and then I want to talk a little bit about the sound. So as far as the playability, one thing that both of these guitars share is they both have a satin finish on the neck that I really, really like. One thing that's a little surprising is I think the shape of the neck of the Fender is actually a little thinner than it is on the Harley Benton. So this guitar here, my signature guitars, it's not a thick neck, but it's a C, it's kind of a round C-shaped neck, right? And that particular Fender, the Ultra Luxe Stratocaster, that one has more of a slimmer D-shaped neck. So there is a difference in the neck profile, even though they both have the same finish, and of course it's the same scale length and all that. Now the Fender has medium jumbo frets, this one has extra jumbo frets, and I can tell you that when I play the Harley Benton, I think it's probably mostly because of the frets, this guitar feels more responsive than the Fender does. I find that I have to dig in a little bit more on the Fender, and with the Harley Benton, the notes kind of jump out with less effort. The other part of that is the pickups, and there's a couple interesting differences here. The Fender pickups are lower output. Now, of course, those are more traditional pickups versus the single coil option on these pickups. So these are definitely hotter pickups, and the Fender stuff is lower output. The other thing, though, is those noiseless single coil Fender pickups, they actually have less noise. Like they truly are noiseless compared to the single coil setting with these pickups, the Tesla pickups, right? So even on the cleaner amp settings, I can hear a little, just a very faint, very faint hum in the background from these pickups. So if very, very quiet pickups, so if you're doing the kind of playing where there's a lot of space in your playing, you're not necessarily sustaining notes for a long time, you have these moments in your playing where you just completely stop, but you're not rolling the volume knob down, that kind of style is going to go much better with those truly noiseless single coil pickups, because with these, now to be clear, this is all when you're on the single coil setting here. On the humbucker setting you don't get noise, but on the single coil setting you do get, I would say, some unwanted noise. And if you're just playing all the way through, if you're just shredding or doing a lot of long sustained notes and you're never really stopping making sound from the guitar, then you don't notice that little noise in the background. But if you do that sort of playing where the notes are more spaced out, then you do hear it. So it's something to keep in mind. And I would even say it's a strike against this guitar compared to the Fender. Now there's one thing about the Fender that I want to also ask you guys about. If you look very closely at the frets and the fretboard on the Fender, you'll notice that they've done something which to me is a little bit strange in the manufacturing. And what that is that they've sprayed the finish on the neck over the frets. And you can see this because where the sort of corner that gets created where the fret sits down on the fretboard, you can see a buildup of this residue there. This, that's from the finish that gets sprayed on the fretboard. I don't know exactly why they would do that, and to be honest, it does not interfere with your playing because I think they probably polished the tops of the frets or did some sanding over the top of them, and that got rid of the finish where the fret touches the string, right? So it's not like it drags or anything like that, but you can see it on there. And to me, it's a strange way to do it. In my mind, you would put the finish on the neck and then you would put the frets on as a following step, and you don't run into that situation where you get the finish residue actually on the metal of the frets. So if there's any luthiers or anybody like that watching this video, can you tell me, why did Fender do it this way? Is there any advantage to doing it that way? Is there something I'm not thinking about? Please let me know down in the comment section below. Okay guys, but look, the bottom line here is I don't think that the price of the Fender when it comes to the sound and the playability is justified, right, compared to the Harley Benton. Now that's not to say that the Fender is a bad guitar. I mean, it's a beautiful guitar, and it sounds and plays great, but it's so expensive. $2,649, $2,649 plus tax. And look, yeah, if we're being totally honest here, if you're ordering this guitar here from Tomon and you're in the USA like I am, then there's going to be a shipping fee, and you might even get hit with a tariff charge, depending on what's going on with the tariffs and stuff. So let's say worst case scenario, let's say you pay, I don't know, $600 or something for this guitar, after shipping and all that stuff, right? Well, $600 compared to $2,650, it's the price difference. I mean, you're just not getting that much better of a guitar for that price difference. Not even close. This guitar here more than holds its own, in my opinion, and I think in some ways it's even superior. Like I said, it's a more responsive neck. I think it's kind of more fun to play because of that responsiveness. So look, guys, do you think I'm crazy? Do you think the sound of the Fender was actually that much better that you can justify that huge increase in price? Let me know what you think about all this stuff down in the comments section below. Okay, guys, so look, I'm going to have links for everything I was talking about in this video down in the video description below. I will have a link to the Tomon website where you can get this guitar. Again, this is the Guitar Max Fusion, the walnut top version with the string through bridge. I will also have a link for the Boss IR200 unit that I was using in the demo. And of course, if you want to drop some real cash, I will also have a link to the Guitar Center website where you can pick up one of those Fender Ultra Luxe Stratocasters. Okay, guys, thanks a ton for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you very soon.